Welcome to the Building Doors Podcast, where we're not just pushing for opportunities for women's voices to be heard, we're creating them. I'm Christy Harst, voiceover actor and creator of the Building Doors campaign. Join us as we amplify voices, break barriers, and build doors together. Welcome to the Building Doors Podcast. I'm your host, Christy Harst, and today's guest is Marney Gellner. Let me tell you all about her. Marney has been a fixture in Minnesota sports for more than 2 decades. That's 20 years, folks. From the sidelines to the studio to the play-by-play chair, she's literally done it all with the Timberwolves, Lynx, and the Twins. In 2018, she made history as the first woman to call play-by-play for the Timberwolves. Woo woo! Oh wait, I have a hype button. And in 2024, she did it again, becoming the first woman to call play-by-play for the Twins during their regular season. But what makes Marney truly stand out isn't just the milestones. It's the way that Marney approaches the work. She's built a career defined by consistency, credibility, and a deep love of the game. So you can also hear her on the Power Tip Morning Show on KFAN, where her voice and perspective shape the conversation around sports. Marney is a proud mom of 2, balancing a high-level broadcasting career with life at home. Welcome, Marney.
Hi, Christy. Thank you. I could tell you added into my boring bio. You zhuzhed it up.
I am guilty of zhuzhing. I may have zhuzhed a tidge. And the hype button always being here helps. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
and
nice
it's
touch.
deserving. Very
That's a nice touch.
deserving. Very deserving. So
Bios
welcome.
bios are hard because it's such a brag book. It's hard to say, yes, this is the information about me and it is accurate and this is what I did, or am I not great? It's hard to write that kind of stuff about yourself.
Am I not fabulous? Yeah, but you know what? I know that our audience will really appreciate you and your background and your career, and whether you know it or not, there's not a lot of women doing what you're doing, and I just want to shed a spotlight on it because I am always in amazement at firsts, and especially firsts that are just now happening for women. So, thank you so much for
Okay.
coming on.
Well, I accept that. I'll allow it. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Thank you.
I will allow it, yes. Okay, so you've said before on probably other interviews that you don't necessarily see yourself as a female broadcaster, that you are simply a broadcaster.
Yeah.
How has that mindset shaped the way you approach your work and this longevity in this industry that you've had?
If I always thought of myself as the female broadcaster, then I feel like I might be holding myself back. Like, well, I shouldn't do that because I'm the female broadcaster, or female broadcasters haven't done that yet, or female broadcasters should be over here on this side. And because I work with mostly men, I want to do what they're doing in the way that they're doing it. And a lot of the men that I work with, let me take just Jim Peterson, for example, who is our Timberwolves analyst who played in the NBA. I've been with the Timberwolves for 20, I mean, I'd have to do the exact math, let's say 22 years. So has Jim Peterson. So the whole time he's been one of my broadcast partners, and I've kind of changed roles: sideline reporter, pregame, postgame host, play by play, whatever. So he's always been there. So he doesn't treat me like, oh, you're the girl on the crew. He's just like, you're my buddy. We're really close. And so he never treats me like the female on the crew. He's just like, you're my equivalent. And
Hmm.
so I never think of myself in any different way. And it's only when I'm asked about being the female that I go, oh, yeah, that's right. And I do understand it. I am really proud of it. If somebody asks about my accomplishments, being the first woman to do this or that with the Timberwolves twins, whatever, I'm super proud of that. I really truly am. And then I go, and then let's move on.
Yeah.
And let's have it be normal. And let's just go, okay, yep, cool.
Do you think you're lucky to be in that kind of environment where you've just grown in your career alongside another man and he treats you as an equal? Do you
Yeah.
think that that's a unique situation?
Um, I hope it's not a unique situation.
Okay.
It might be. I think the difference though is, and I hope this doesn't come off as arrogant, but that I was and am good enough at my job that it allows me to be treated as the equal. Nobody has to sit and wait for me to catch up. Nobody has to hold my hand and help me through it so I can get up to speed. I do the same work. I do the same research. I do the same prep. Nobody has to explain the game to me. And I feel like that is the fear that a lot of people on the outside have with a woman coming in.
Really?
She doesn't know what
Really?
she's talking about. She doesn't know the game. And I will say that is something I was and am very conscious of. If I make a mistake, if I pronounce something wrong or say a stat wrong or a score wrong or something, I put it on myself that I feel like somebody out there, a viewer, interprets that as she doesn't know what she's talking about. If a man makes the same mistake, I feel like it's often as interpreted as, oh, he meant
Oh, right.
we're not 42.
Right, right.
And I don't know if that's true or not. That's maybe the only area where I feel like the gender thing comes into play and I put it on myself.
Yeah.
But other than that, to go back to answering your question, I feel like he and others have treated me totally the same because I have done the role and the job totally the same.
So do you feel that so what I hear you saying, excuse me, is that either you think that there is a preconceived bias when it comes to women doing your type of job, that they may need to have their hand held, they need to be brought up to speed, or this is something that you just wanna make sure it never happens to you.
Yeah. If I say there is a preconceived notion, I do not mean by everyone.
Right.
Certainly not. I mean by some.
Mhm.
Because I think even like if you see like Pam Ward doing college football play by play, I would guess that there are some people in her audience that think, I mean, does she really know football? Maybe that's 10%, 5%, 40%. I have no idea. But if Pam Ward makes a mistake or identifies the wrong running back in a split second, is the first thing that comes to your mind, she does not know what she's talking about. Versus, oh, it's 32, not number 32, not number 34. And it was hard to see because of the way he turned away from the pile. That's the only thing I'm talking about. I certainly don't think that in 2026, anyone who sees a woman working a sporting event goes, oh God, what could she possibly know? But there certainly are some who still unfortunately feel that way.
Yeah, yeah. We've had Tiffany Green from ESPN on the podcast as well,
Mhm,
and she was the first Black woman to do play-by-play announce for a, Division I college game, and we had a similar conversation to what you and I are having now,
mhm.
and I asked her a similar question, and she said that there were times at the beginning of her career when she would go to the game and get with the crew, and the sense from the crew was, "Oh, they brought they brought her? Like, really? A woman?" You know? And it's so interesting because you touch upon it, right? And it and then she brought it up, and the amount of hard work and making sure you don't make these mistakes is 10 times more for women
Yeah.
because of what you shared, this perceived notion of just because she might mess up, and have a dyslexic moment from 23 to 32 for 1 second, she may be judged. So, you're right. Unfortunately, it does still exist, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but if that's the worst of it, then
Yeah, yeah.
that's right. In some ways it makes me better because it makes me more conscious of being more prepared, more right, more ready
Yes.
So that's not always a bad thing either.
Yes. So, how do you personally balance being recognized in your career as a first here, a first there, while still staying grounded in the job itself? I'm sure your experiences with your peers helps you do that, and then always making sure that you are prepared. But I'm sure your family grounds you as well.
Yeah. They're pretty unaware, honestly. They're
Uh,
teenage. I have a husband. We've been married almost 20 years, and then a son and a daughter. Our son is a senior in high school, and our daughter is a sophomore in high school. And while I'm sure they're very proud of me, they could not care less what
Good.
I do other than the times I can get them free tickets to a game. Then they care very much,
Mom's so
and they
cool.
are very into
Yeah, mom's cool
things.
then. Yep, mom is all
Yeah.
that. Yes.
I mean, we just recently just finally decided to put in a little, I mean, to say trophy case is not right. It's an open shelving, kind of like this ladder shelf in the
Yes.
back, like the
Yes.
home decor. It's in the very upstairs because I have a couple of game balls. The first time I called play by play for the Timberwolves in 2018, they gave me the game ball, which a game ball from a basketball game is really cool.
It's so
And then they
cool.
they laser print on it my name and the date
No
and the score of the
way.
game and everything. So that's really cool. And I have a couple of baseballs from the Twins game, and they have the actual authenticated sticker on them and the dates and all of that stuff was in a plastic bag
It's so wait, just time out. It's such a mom thing to say that.
in a
All of this stuff was
drawer
in a plastic bag in the corner of a room. It's such a mom thing.
in a drawer.
Yep.
Yeah, score sheets, photos, all of it. And
Yeah.
so we finally put in this open ladder shelf, but included in there. So I have two basketballs and two, four baseballs. And then we put my son's football plaque, my daughter's a couple volleyball plaques. So we made it a family.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, something from my husband from high school because I just couldn't stand the thought of like, here's mom's shelf. Come into our home. So how do I stay humble?
It's the yeah.
It's sharing my plaque, my
Yeah.
my trophy case with my son's football most improved award and my daughter's volleyball letter and my husband's 1996
Stop.
football award.
I will say that kids are the great equalizer. They really are. I mean, if you think you're hot stuff, just talk to a kid
Yeah,
and they'll let you know you're not.
that's a great way to live though, because any of us who think we're pretty important probably need to be checked.
So your career really is about versatility. I mean, if you take a look at everything that you've done, it really is about being able to adapt versatility and to keep going. So was
Yeah.
that intentional on your part?
No.
Or did you
Uh-uh.
find
Um,
okay.
I mean, yes and no. First of all, it was survival because um I wanted a job and I wanted to keep the job. And initially the job was hosting a couple of coaches shows and doing sideline for the Timberwolves. That was initially, and then the Lynx play by play, the WNBA play by play came along like in the second year or something. And so it was like, okay, I'm gonna claw onto this and I want to keep this. So it was figuring out those like three things. And then it was we need someone to do a feature story because we need something for the show. And in my background of working small market news, in the sports department, which I had done for 6.5 years before getting this job, I could do that. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. And so I would do that. And hosting came along so it was survival at first because I just wanted to be valuable.
Mm,
And I had worked in small markets in Bismarck, North Dakota, because I'm from North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Madison, Wisconsin, where I was a one-man band. I
mm.
was the photographer, the reporter, the editor, the audio person, typing in the graphics. Like that is what you did at a small market because all these outlets didn't exist of all of these news entities and um, internet opportunities. It was like you had to work at a local TV station or you could not get reps on air. So that's how I came up in like the late 90s. Those were my reps. So I did everything because that was the only way. So by the time I got this job, which it looked different then in 1990, or sorry, 2002 when I got this job. I came into the business in 96, but 2002 for this job. I had to do everything, and then as I realized it, it was super smart. So then it became, oh, I'm going to keep doing this because now it's valuable. And now I call myself a Jackie of all trades, master of none, because now I see how important it is. So now I'm actually valuable to all these people. And now I have a good spot to land. And oh, there he is. Good morning.
Look at her. He was all about smiling at it too. Hello. So what's interesting about what you just said, I think, and maybe you can see this through my eyes as well. I was the same way. When I interned, you had to know everything, right? You took every opportunity you had to learn this from this department and that department, and you learned it all, right?
Yeah.
Because you never knew what the next step would be or how you could try and wiggle your way into that next step. And I feel like now with the advent of technology, um, computers in our hands, it went from wanting to learn everything so that you could go to this department or that department where they were specialized. But now, fast forward 20, 30 years, we're back to having to know everything about everything. Because if you wanna
Mm,
be your own marketer, if you wanna have a social media presence and you don't have money to
yeah.
hire, you need to learn how to edit
Yeah.
videos. You need to learn how to add the music and do the
Mhm.
voiceover and all this other stuff. And I feel like we're almost back to that jack of all trades by
Yeah.
necessity. Like it's you have to be that now.
Yes. You're a self promotion. You are your own brand now. Yeah. It is in a totally different way, but you're right. The social media age too, the Instagram and TikTok age, and you can kind of take it as far as you want to, but yeah. Um
Do you feel the
that
pressure to have a
yeah.
strong social media presence?
Yeah, and I don't. I don't do a very good job of it. Yeah, do I feel the pressure is interesting because it's self-inflicted because there's no pressure. I don't in order to do my job as the Timberwolves pregame and postgame host or the Lynx play-by-play person or the Twins whatever role I have, I don't need to be on social media other than to, read whatever they're putting out. I don't need to be a presence on there to be successful, but the relevance is a different story, I feel like, and I guess to what level. I find it very exhausting to put myself out there, come up with an idea. I really don't do it very often. Photos here and there. Um, I enjoy it to some extent, but I do it minimally. It's really hard. I feel for the 20-year-olds coming up in the business and the need to be on TikTok and Instagram, and that is it's like a whole separate business and job and something you probably need to put 10 to 15 hours in a week of editing and content.
On the low side, yeah.
Do you feel it?
So what's interesting is I also I'm so old. I also I was a young adult when Facebook first came out, and nobody knew how to use it or what to do, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I feel like I have seen the growth of social media, and when I was younger, I definitely felt prey to the, "Oh, I need to post," and, "Oh, I need to share this glossy version of my life," and this and this.
Yeah.
And now I see social media as a tool to advance my mission and
Yeah.
A tool so that if a potential voiceover client finds me, they get to know me as a person.
Yep.
Because in the advent of AI and people having the choice to use a much cheaper voice with AI versus a human, I wanna stand out as a human. So I see the value in social media. Do I like it? Well, I mean, there are some weeks where I wanna be like, "Ugh." But, I have to be reminded that now, in this day and age, it's a part of my business. I have to do it.
Yeah. That is a very healthy way to look at it, though, because because the other way is just like, I'm promoting myself, and if you don't have a business, like, you have a business, you can get voiceover work. If I already have a job and I'm just trying to get followers, that's kind of a gross way to live. I'm just trying to be more popular, that doesn't feel great. There's there's the endorsement world, and that's a real thing too. I could use some upper level flooring, if we're being honest right now, and if anyone is listening. But that's not a fun way to go about using that tool either. So it's something. I mean, I'm 52. I'm 52 years old and still working a lot in this industry. I feel fortunate to be doing that, but I also know I've worked my ass off.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like, well, it's just luck. It's just luck that I'm here. So I don't really know if I'm using that social media part right, but as long as I feel good and comfortable and not stressed about it, it's like, yeah, it hasn't been a make or break thing for me, luckily. But it's confusing. I'm raising two kids in a world where I think, boy, I do not really know how to guide you in this. I'm not real sure,
Yeah.
and it's constantly changing. And good luck to you.
Well, let's talk about what we know you are doing right, which is your new website and why the
Oh,
website is awesome, because it
thanks.
is done by one of our very own in the voiceover community,
Yeah,
Mr. John Lano, and he is fabulous. He redid my site, and I know that you've had a great experience with him.
yeah. John Lano,
Yes,
who,
John Lano.
yeah, because he will correct me when I also say his name wrong. Um, John, I found because I used social media to find John Lano. Oh, there it
Look at
is
that. There it is. We're full circle.
for good. Social media for good. I put on Twitter that I was looking for someone to build a website, and if anyone is interested, please let me know. And several people sent a message, and I kind of sifted through and followed up with a few of them. And one of them was John, and it was a perfect connection because he knew this business that I was in. He had a connection to Minnesota, which is where I am. He went to the daycare where my kids went to daycare in Prior Lake, Minnesota. It was
Oh
just
my
a
gosh.
beautiful connection, and John did, yeah, what I think is a great job. So I'm trying to get into the world of keynote speaking, which in our business, we do a lot of moderating and panels and emceeing and things like that. And now I've actually put together a full 1 hour presentation, start to finish, real formal. So yeah, I have a website to help promote mostly keynote speaking. MarneyGellner.com. What?
Yeah, well, we'll put it in the show notes, the description so people can
Okay.
click through and look.
Wonderful. Thank
We
you.
love to promote
Thank you.
John and, people can learn more about you. So, let's talk. I just have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
So, sports broadcasting has traditionally been male dominated, and some might argue
Mhm.
it still very much is,
Yeah.
but is also very collaborative. So, what have you learned about working within these male dominated environments and building strong on air chemistry? You've alluded to it a little bit with your partner of 20 years. But if someone who is listening, who maybe isn't in your position but wants to be in your position, what advice would you give them?
About building chemistry or just like getting into the
about how to work in a so I'm a woman and I wanna do what you do. And how do I walk in there and build collaboratively, so I can have the relationship like you do with your partner?
Well, you can't control who the partner is, and that I got lucky on. And in most of my jobs, meaning if I'm working with the Timberwolves or Twins or Lynx, they're good people. And I feel like hopefully the bad ones get sifted out as you go if you can stick it out long enough. So hopefully you hang on to the good ones. You get a good enough working environment that they also want to stay. Um the you know, I get asked a lot by high school kids, college kids, "Hey, I need to write a paper on someone who has a job I want. Can I ask you some questions?" Or because my job is higher profile, so it's easy for someone to say, "That's what I want to do." And I don't know that everyone has a really good grasp on what this business is like. And a lot of people don't understand the hours, which are not good.
Break
Christy,
it
they're
down.
not good.
Break it down. Like, what do you mean
Um,
that they don't know what it talk about that.
well, it's a very intriguing job. Why wouldn't you want to work in sports? Because we love sports as entertainment. People are like, oh, let's go watch the game. Let's go to a game. People love it. Be like, I could do this for a living. That would be awesome. And there are parts of it that are awesome. But when do sports happen? On nights, on
Mm.
weekends, on holidays. So when you think about working, you are working nights, weekends, holidays, not all of them all the time, but for all of my adult life, I have worked nights and weekends and holidays. I've gotten to a point in my career where I can take some of those off, but like it is almost Easter. I have a game on Easter Sunday. I have the first game that I called play by play for the Timberwolves, the history. I'm using air quotes if you're listening and not watching the podcast. I made history on December 26th. We flew out on Christmas Day to Chicago. How glamorous. Um and we had to stay overnight in Chicago on the 26th and come back on the 27th. So I spent Christmas in
Mm.
Chicago, and you make do. So there's a give and take, but the starting out in this business, the pay, the salary is generally across the board terrible.
What define that? Because I want people to I I'm really trying this year to demystify certain things when it comes to voiceover and creative work. So give us a range. When you first start out, you could expect to earn 25 to 35. Like what is a range?
Well, I mean, it depends. Are you working
Right,
for
the
a local
market.
TV station? Are you
Yeah.
working at, are you working in newspaper? I mean, when I started, it was 96, so it was forever and a world ago. I made $13,000, but after 6 months of a probation period, they bumped me up to $13,500.
Oh
That was a
my.
full-time job working, my weekend was Monday, Tuesday. My hours were, 1:30 to 10:30 PM. You know,
How do you have like how do you have a
that
light like
I remember that was my first job. My second job was in Grand Forks, and I moved because I got a huge raise and I made $20,000. Yeah. But that would have been I was in Grand Forks from 97 to 99. And then when I left Madison, Wisconsin to come to Minneapolis, it was 2002 and I had just made $30,000. Because I
oh
remember thinking, I
wow.
am 30 years old making $30,000. I'm finally making my age. I have made it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And those were all full-time positions with benefits, like actual jobs.
And your
with
weekend was
experience.
Monday, Tuesday, and your hours were roughly 1:30 to 10:30 at night, working holidays and weekends.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's when a lot of people don't continue on. They do a year or two or whatever, and then they miss their, you know, friends' weddings and weekends at the lake and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And again, there were not other outlets to work at where now you have the Big Ten network and you have all these, um, you can work for an internet broadcasting high school games.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, they are going to happen on nights and weekends, but there are so many more opportunities. They just don't pay a lot. You have to keep climbing to get better pay. And so you really have to love the business. My son, who walked into the shot half an hour ago or whatever, he is going to college next year and he is going to study sports broadcasting.
Oh, God bless him.
Exactly. I have told him I will support him no matter what. And I have also told him I do not want you to go into sports broadcasting. We've had multiple conversations and they've been good, solid, informational conversations. And he's like, I know, mom, I know. And I've told him all of this. I've told him how hard it is because I didn't have a great life, meaning
Mm.
dating was really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Friends were really hard. I missed tons of social gatherings and weddings, reunions, just things my friends were doing. It sucked. But I got a lot of cool things out of it too. I mean, like really cool things. We've had family trips, like the twins do a family trip every year. My kids have been on the twins team plane multiple times, staying in the team hotel because they say, hey, for a week, why don't you bring your family? And my husband and kids go, and we've done that multiple times. That is not normal. But it was
But it's
only
hard earned. It's
I
hard earned.
yes, exactly. And also on those trips, I'm working and
Ooh.
they're having fun. And we have all these pictures of our family on vacations in different cities. And I'm working in almost all of them. But here we are staying in a nice hotel. So it's a give and take. And I wouldn't have stayed with it if I didn't enjoy what I was doing and if I didn't find the benefits. So I'm not, I hope it doesn't come across as like, wow, she whines a lot.
Oh, no, I
I'm
don't.
just trying to give people the sense, the reality of it is not all glitz and glam, and there is a hard side and a grind side to this business because you don't really see that. It's behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's appreciated because I think that you're right. People say, I love sports. I know sports in and out. I know this team in and out. I should have this job. I should do this job, but they don't see the other side. And it's taken you 20 plus years to get to where you are. And you've sacrificed a ton to be there. And you're right. Most people probably go through, and after year two, three, they're like, forget this. I'm not willing to give up all this stuff. So, my last question is, what advice would you give to a young woman who is majoring in broadcast communication or sports broadcast communication, is currently in her senior year, is going to graduate this spring? What advice would you give to her that maybe someone shared with you or maybe that you've learned? What advice would you give to her?
Most of it I've already shared,
Mhm.
which is I try to give the reality side and not scare people, but it's just a reality. And I just it's interesting because you just asked me what advice I would give to a young woman because usually I don't differentiate if it's a boy or a girl asking me, as I indicated before, I have a paper to write. Can you answer these questions? I don't usually care if it's a boy student or a girl student. And nowadays, there are so many women in the business that honestly, if I turn on a game, especially let's say an NBA game or an NFL game, if there is a man on the sideline, like doing the sideline reporting, that has become unusual to me. That has become oh, they got a dude on the sideline. It's almost always a woman on the sideline. If you think about it, an NFL game, a college football game, or an NBA game, those in particular. So I feel like we have gone whoop, completely 180 in that area. So there are so many opportunities for women. I don't know that I would need to give her any different advice than I would need to give him.
Mhm.
Maybe I would just tell her, if you know the game, you will be fine. And I should tell him that too. But you do have to know the game, because I've seen both male and female who
Oh,
are,
I'm sure, I'm sure.
yeah, you're probably like, yeah, you can't just be a fan and get into this business. You really have to know your stuff. You really
Well,
do.
let's take that a step further. Even if you really know your stuff, it doesn't mean you're a great broadcaster,
Oh, yeah,
AKA,
very true.
I could name some players. I could name some players that,
Do it.
have lots of rings and,
Yes,
aren't the
yeah,
best on camera. So I think it can
yeah.
go both ways.
That's interesting too, because that is something I did and I encourage people to do. Watch broadcasts with a critical eye. Who do you like as announcers? Then once you figure out who you like, watch them, and what do you like about them? Is it the sound of their voice? Is it the pace of the way they talk? Is it the phrases they use? And then do the same with the people you don't like. Don't just go, I can't stand him, I'm not watching him. Force yourself to watch and figure out what you don't like specifically. Like, figure it out, because then you can like put this board together of, I like his pacing, her phrasing. I do not like you can really piece together um, a puzzle that you never knew why you do or don't like someone and what it is, and really figure it out. There's a lot to be learned from that.
Do you think also I said I had 2 and here I am asking more questions. But, in voiceover, and in many other, creative, industries, there's a real big push on adding the "you." So when you read a script, you add the Christy to the script because Christy has experiences in life that will lend to a voice that sounds more this or that. So, do you think that there is room to add your own personality when you're crafting this puzzle of I like this from her and I like this from him? Is there an opportunity to add your own and is that necessary in your industry now?
Um, to an extent, yes, because it's a very popular industry, and I don't know what sets people apart if you don't. This is something I told my son as we were talking about why he should or shouldn't go into sports broadcasting in college. Like, I have seen it, because if somebody leaves a position, like somebody that I have worked with or um, work around, the applicants, thousands that come in. How do you separate yourself? Well, first is like you have to be good. Okay, let's say there are hundreds that are good. The separators, and a lot of times it's just the person making the decision is like, I like that guy, I like that girl. It's not a distinct thing, it's just I like or I don't like. And so then you get to becoming the shtick and avoiding the shtick. So adding the Christy part, but not going so far as like, oh god, this is nauseating, because now you're, hey, and I'm wacky, and I've got these phrases, and now you're over the top. And so there's this fine line of being unique and adding the Christy part that makes it Christy, but not going so far as like, oh, you're nauseating everyone. And it's not easy, but you probably have to find something that makes it unique to you without going overboard, and that's not really easy. And sometimes it's just the tone of your voice, because everybody's voice is different, and working on your voice, as you know, as a voice actor, that is not easy. But nobody's voice sounds like yours, so hone that, work that, perfect that, because
Yes.
nobody will mimic that. Did I just hit
Yes.
on something?
I really think you that was really I think that's gonna be a promo clip. I think that'll be a promo clip for this episode. I know, doesn't it feel
Voice
good?
actors everywhere, unite!
Oh, Marnie. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I absolutely love talking with people who are solid in their commitment to their passion, and that's what you are. And when you shared what you were earning, you definitely have a passion and a love for it, else you would have left. So
I want you to know I have crossed the $13,000 and $20,000 barrier. I have.
thank you.
I mean, look at the wainscoting on this wall, okay? I have figured out a way to make more money.
She's leveled up, folks. She's leveled up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marney Gellner, for joining us on the Building Doors podcast. And if you're listening and you like this conversation or just the Building Doors podcast alone by itself, all the episodes, buy us a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com/buildingdoorsvo. All the proceeds go back directly into the production of this podcast. And until next time, let's keep building doors together. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Building Doors podcast. Want to hear more? Check out all our episodes at buildingdoorsvo.com/podcast and follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Building Doors VO. We'd love to hear from you, so call us on our 24/7 hotline at 216-307-1917 and leave us a voicemail with your thoughts. Do you want to support the podcast? Well, we love coffee. Buy us a cup through the link in the description or at buildingdoorsvo.com. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep speaking up, and let's keep building doors together.